What am I trying to say?
This video is sponsored by my patrons. For more information or to join, there is a link down in the description.
Hello everybody and welcome to the 71st episode of the Lovebird Lane vlog. Welcome! My name is Julianne, and if you are new here, thank you so much for checking me out. If you do enjoy the show, please remember to like and subscribe. And that goes for all of you who come around here every week as well. Please do like and subscribe the video. It really helps me to build my channel, and I'd absolutely love to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2022. And if you'd like to help out even more, that is free, is to leave me a comment down below as well. Yeah, so share me with your friends, you know, somebody might like me out there. So yeah, like I said, I'd love to build this channel, and that's a great way to do it for free. Like, subscribe and comment down below. Okay, I've done some stuff. I've actually done a bunch of stuff this morning. I've done some quilting this morning. I have 2 placemats that just need to be bound, so sneaky little hint there. I have been doing some knitting. My patrons who saw my weekend wrap-up video will probably be surprised by some of my knitting. Well, the only thing I have to show you in knitting. And I have even some spinning this week, so I've got something a little bit different. Some spinning, some quilting, and yeah, let's get on with it, shall we? So first up, I have some knitting. I pulled out my Waiting for Rain shawl again. Unfortunately, I am... Now, those of you who are in my Patreon would have seen that I was binding this off the other day, and clearly it is not being bound off right now. So that is because I bound the entire thing off. I had enough yarn. I ended up having, because I thought I was going to have not enough yarn, so I started binding off. And I think I posted it on Instagram as well, that I thought I would be playing yarn chicken with the end of the shawl. However, I got to the end of the bind off of the shawl and I still had 10 grams left. So it was a decent sized ball of yarn left. And looking at my shawl, I didn't do the full repeat of just garter stitch backwards and forwards after that last lace panel because I was worried about yarn running out. I loved the look of the Picot bind off. I'll see if I can put in something here, maybe a little snippet of the weekend wrap up video or the photo that I shared on Instagram. However, having that only, I think I only managed to do 6 rows when I'm supposed to do 6 repeats, I think. So there should be 6 garter strip bumps, but I only had 3. I had half of what was required, and I feel like the lace panel, which I'm currently working on, I can show you a little bit of it now. So this lace panel that I'm working on here felt too close to the Picot bind off, and I felt like the lace panel just blended in to the bind off, and I regretted not, especially as I had 10 grams of yarn left, I regretted not doing extra rows in that last garter section. And along with that, when I did this lace panel the first time, because I've ripped out right back to the beginning of that lace panel, so I've gone all my bind off is gone, those six rows of garter stitch are gone, and then my whole lace panel were gone. Because, okay, here's my, a lot of you are probably thinking I'm absolutely crazy, but here's what I'm thinking. I had that 10 grams left at the end. When I did my lace panel for the first time, I accidentally added an extra repeat of the lace, and due to that, because the lace is done in short rows, so you're working backwards and forwards on the lace piece, then continuing on the garter the whole way. So obviously adding that extra repeat into the lace meant that like say, there we go, we've got my markers. So in between these 2 markers is 8 stitches, and basically it meant I had a whole extra one of these sections, which obviously is wasted yarn, if you get my what I'm trying to say. Oh, why does my camera not want to focus on me anymore. I'm going to try and take my glasses off for a second and just see if that helps my camera to focus on me a little bit. I noticed in the last episode there was a lot of sections where I was blurry, so I don't know whether it's just that I don't have enough light here. I'm right next to a window, like I'm literally right next to my lounge room window, or whether it's my glasses reflecting that's throwing out the focus. So just a little side quest there. Yeah, so basically that 8-stitch block obviously is kind of, it's not wasted yarn, it's yarn that I could use to elongate the garter panel and then have enough to go for my bind off. So instead of having 10 grams left at the end, if I just repeated knitting it exactly the same way that I did, I would have more than 10 grams left at the end, because I would have that extra repeat of yarn free. Does that make sense? So I ripped it right back to the beginning of the lace, and I am now doing exactly the number of repeats that I needed to. I counted out my stitch markers before I started knitting it, so I knew I had the right amount of stitch markers for the number of repeats that I needed. So I am at this point, I can't obviously hold it up for you because A, my cable is too short, B, I am in the middle of the short row lace section. I am currently halfway through that lace section panel. Then I'm going to go back to doing the garter stitch backwards and forwards, and I'm going to attempt to get at least 4 to 5 repeats done. No, sorry. Yes, 4 to 5 repeats done. So instead of having 3 garter bump rows, I'll have 4 or 5, and then I'll go and bind off, because I don't think I'm going to have enough yarn to do the full amount of garter stitch that's required at the end, but I think I could almost get there. So we're going to see what happens. But yeah, I am close. I did have this finished. It was finished and bound off yesterday. I did not cut my yarn because I was worried about potentially, I already had this idea to pull it back out in my head, so I did not cut the yarn and I kept it all together, had a bit of an extra think about it, and just decided to do it because I didn't think I was going to be happy with it as it was, and because I love this colorway. This is Madeline Tosh, it's Tosh Merino Light with hollow glitter. I don't know if it's you can see that on the screen. I have to get really close to be able to actually see the screen because I'm very short-sighted. So it's probably not coming through, but this color is Copper Pink, I believe is what it's called, and I adore this colorway. It's sat in my stash for a really long time, and I'm finally using it, so I want it to be a piece that I'm happy with and that I will wear happily without looking at it and thinking I should have fixed that. Does that make sense? I don't want it to be something that, yeah, I get annoyed by every time I put it on. Just my own little crazy thoughts. So that is why I ripped it out. But this is the only knitting project that I am working on at the moment, so I'm thinking that this should be finished by next week's vlog. So hopefully even possibly by next week's weekend wrap up for my patrons. So we will see how it goes. But yeah, I'm loving this colour. It is just so me. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to having it finished. And there's an ambulance. Okay, I think he's nearly gone. I will go on to spinning. This is some yarn that I spun. I was hoping to have this skeined off before today's episode, but I completely forgot about it. I was thinking yesterday, I had one of those like brain fog days where you just, I know I have things that I want to do, but my brain just doesn't think of them. And because I can't think of them, I can't write them on a list, so they don't get done. That was yesterday. Well, it's most of my week actually. But I got this finished. This spin I started a really long time ago, probably a good 2 or 3 months ago. and I had the singles mostly spun. The other day I grabbed it out, I finished the spinning of the singles, and then one evening I just started plying. So I did this on my E-Spinner 3, my Ashford E-Spinner 3, because I haven't really done very much on that wheel, and I am getting rid of my 2 Ashford treadle wheels. So I've got a traditional and a traveller, so I'm going to be selling those off. And thus I only have 2 vintage wheels left. Then I have a Wee Peggy and a Pippi Wendy. Neither of which I'm desperately comfortable with. The Pippi Wendy, both of them got refurbished, and the Pippi Wendy never quite came back together properly, so my drive band tends to slip off all the time while I'm trying to spin. I do need to get that fixed. I do need to look at that, probably get Simon to have a look at it with me and see if we can sort out how to keep that drive band on, because that wheel spun the best 8-ply yarn I have ever spun. So I'm devastated that it's like kind of unusable at the moment. And the Wee Peggy, I find it a little temperamental. A lot of people love their Wee Peggies. I love the wheel, this beautiful vintage wheel that has been refurbished, and I don't want to part with it because it's just beautiful, but I really do need to get my temperamental self gelled in with its temperamental self so that we can create some sort of equilibrium between us and figure each other out. But I've just not spent the time at this point. But all that to be said is why the E-Spinner is probably the only wheel that I'm really working on at the moment. And again, I haven't entirely learnt that. I think this is maybe only my 2nd spin on that E-Spinner 3. So yeah, I'm not hugely comfortable with it either. And then this was some fibre that I've had in my stash for a long time. I know you're not supposed to marinate fibre, but most of my fibre is very, very old. This I purchased, it's called, the brand was Hanks in the Hood, and I got this from Knit Picks. Knit Picks had this fibre in a bunch of different colours, and they were doing a clearance on it at one point. So I'd always flirted with the idea of purchasing some of it, but then when it was on clearance and I thought, oh well, I'm not going to get it again, I grabbed 2 bumps of it. And if I'm to be as candid, I suppose is probably the word, as I was with my patrons on Tuesday, I hate this. It is so ugly to me. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I'll see if I can get a close-up. I've been trying to fiddle with my camera to see if I can get it focusing a bit better. It has been having a few issues, but hopefully it's not doing too badly today. But yeah, I hate this. I think it's revolting. And yeah, sections of it are too tightly spun, sections of it are underspun in the singles. And that basically comes down to the fact that this was roving. So if you're not familiar, there are kind of a couple of, there's multitude of ways that you can prepare your fibre. 2 of the most common are bats and top. So top is that lovely, smooth, usually comes in a plait or a sort of a twist, and bats are usually more of like a fluffy pile. Usually it's like a big bat that usually gets rolled and it's just this big squishy pile of yarn, which is what this was. And I know for a fact, because I'm an inchworm worsted spinner, it's what feels comfortable to me. I've tried doing other ways, I don't love it. I feel like, to me, spinning is something that I do as a relaxation thing. Like, it's to be relaxed, it's to play with colour and to create something at the end that's kind of very minimal effort, that you had a really nice meditative, quiet, relaxing time with. And using top, because top, basically all of the fibres are, it's like you've combed them, they're all running the same direction. Bats, the fibres can be crisscrossed, they can be all sorts of directions. Some of them will be like top, all in one, but bats generally are a little bit more, messy is not the right word, but a little bit more inconsistent, whereas top is very combed. It's essentially combed fibre. And knowing that I'm a worsted spinner, and that should have been enough of a clue to know that I wouldn't like spinning with bats. However, that is knowledge that I've gained in the meantime, because I purchased this a long time ago. Like I said, it's got to be 4 or 5 years that I've had this. I started spinning in 2015, end of 2015, so it's been yeah, like 6 years since I've been spinning, and this would have been a very early purchase for me. So I've tried doing woolen spun stuff. It just doesn't take with me. I have to be too focused on it. Whereas if I just do my worsted inchworm spin, I don't even have to think about it. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm hoping that I can skein this off and give it a wash and see if I can get some of the inconsistencies out of it. I chain plied this, so it's basically a three ply chain ply, and yeah, I hate it. that's like, if you want honesty, that is honesty. I do not like this. I didn't desperately enjoy the spin. I don't like the yarn, and I really don't know what I'm going to do with it. So if any of you love this, let me know and I will figure something out. We'll see. I will skein it off, see how it looks, give it a bit of a fluff, and yeah. But yeah, that's some spinning. Something that you haven't seen for quite a while. And I guess maybe now I can get on to my current love, which is quilting. And I did a little bit of quilting over the weekend. I haven't done a ton apart from today, which I will show you a little bit later, but I will just reach over here. It's tangled in yarn. I have finished my first row of my entwined quilt. So I finished all my blocks on Sunday? I think it was Sunday, and laid them all out on my bed, tried to get them relatively even, and then I've sewn together a row. By the time I finished this row, I finished the blocks and I finished this row, it was quite warm in my house on Sunday, I think, so I just gave up and came and sat out in the fan. So I now have a row of my quilting. So it is a 4x4 quilt, so 4 blocks by 4 blocks. So this is a row of 4, and yeah, I just need to sew some more rows, sew my rows together, and I will have most of a quilt top. I'm thinking that I'm probably going to do some borders on this. I believe the pattern does call for borders with like little cornerstone squares up in the top corners, so yeah, we'll see how I go. But yes, I will hopefully have this done. It's funny, as soon as a quilt gets big, I lose interest in it. And that's terrible, because obviously I want a big quilt. But if this is one row, I feel like 4 of them together is going to be so big. And I'm just like, I don't want to wrangle that. Like, because my sewing area is just not at all ideal, not at all, wrangling anything big is just, it's just too much for my brain to deal with and my hands to deal with. So that will that will come at some point. I don't know when, but it will be coming at some point. Now, I showed my patrons this on Tuesday as well, and I have nothing new to show you on this one either, guys. This is the Passacaglia. I got this PDF from Kristen Larare, so she has hand-drawn the pieces that you require for the medallion. So this medallion here. I think I mentioned last week that I printed that, but I printed it on regular paper, but then forgot about two-sided. Having two-sided is the setting that I usually have on my printer, and I forgot to take it off two-sided, so I ended up printing my shapes on both sides, which is just useless. And because it's just regular printer paper, I knew it wasn't going to be perfect, but I thought, okay, seeing I've stuffed it up anyway, I will head to Officeworks and I will get some card. So it was the state election here in Adelaide last weekend, and after voting, Simon and I headed over to Officeworks to get some card. So I have now printed out my shapes on card. So this was 210 GSM cardstock that I purchased. They didn't have any white, so I got pink. So, you know, no great loss that there was no white. I got pink and I'm very happy about it. So I spent most of Saturday, which was another warm day, cutting out these card pieces. And by the time, like I mentioned on the vlog last week, I wanted to try some fussy cutting for this. And by the time it came to cutting fabric, I was hot and annoyed, and I just got some fabric out of my stash. It was actually from some of the fabrics that Dorothy gave me, so there you go, Dorothy. I have used some of your fabrics. You might recognize them. But so far I am working on my second round on the Passacaglia Medallion. So the really cool thing is, with this medallion, there are shapes in it that I've never done in English paper piecing, because I've almost entirely done hexagons, as you've seen. So just on this section here alone, I've got two different shapes of diamonds. So we've got one here and then this one here. So yeah, that is going to be my inner circle. I have obviously one more navy blue section in there, and then it's going to go to pentagrams, which is another shape that I've never done before. I've done half hexies and hexies pretty much. So I've got my little pieces of fabric cut out to make my pentagrams. So I haven't... Pentagrams? Pentagons. Pentagrams, you know, I've been watching too much at Haunting this week. I subscribe to their YouTube channel and they've been doing double episode uploads, so I've just been sitting there for like an hour and a half watching A Haunting. And of course there's pentagrams in demonic things in A Haunting, so that's where that came from. Pentagons is what I was referring to. So yeah, I haven't worked on this. I was hoping to have that blue round finished before today, but this week, guys, it's been brain fog central for me. I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't. Where do the days go? I don't know. It's just in a little fuzzy little brain fog world. All right, let's show you my placemats, I think. So basically the impetus for this project was that last night Simon and I had a bit of wine, shall we say. And usually when we have a bit of wine, we are much better at conversing with each other, which is ridiculous because we've been together for over 10 years now, and probably, I think we're nearly 12 years. By the end of this year, we'll have been together for 12 years. So we talk really well, we communicate really well, but I don't know, it's just the weirdest thing how I think sometimes you can get into a rut of just perfunctory communication where, yeah, you talk about the basics of how are you, how was your day at work, what would you like for dinner, what should we watch on TV tonight. It's just that boring routine stuff. And Simon and I have been having a few discussions lately. I'm not going to go into it here because they're very private. So, but yeah, just about ways that we want to live our life and things like that. And basically having the wine last night made us really get deep into that. Like, we've been very surface level talking about certain things, and I feel like having the wine, I think it's that uninhibited feeling where we just communicated really, really well last night about things that we were thinking, we were feeling about certain subjects. And then, yeah, we had a really good night actually, and I kind of want more of that, and I want to foster that without having the alcohol, because I don't really drink a lot, and I prefer to keep it that way. Especially I was reading last night, here's a tangent, here's a Peyton Julianne tangent. I have hypothyroidism, which I have told you guys before if you're new. I have hypothyroidism, and I've been struggling to lose weight. I just, no matter what I do, I just stay fat. So I've been looking into potential, like, is there a certain diet that a hypothyroid person should be eating? And I found something last night and they were saying no alcohol. And I was like, ooh, okay. Like, I don't drink a lot anyway. It's very rare. I probably have a drink once or twice a week, if that. I was teetotal for a year, actually, just recently, but I have been having a little bit again. And yeah, I read that it's not good for people who have hypothyroidism to drink. So I want to be able to sort of create an environment that we can sit and chat, and I figured what better way to do that than to create a lovely environment to eat dinner together in the kitchen, because as I've told you guys before, I have that Ivar wall unit from IKEA. It has a drop down table, and that's kind of our dining table at this point in time. We don't have another table that we can eat at. And so I thought, we don't really use that table a lot for eating because it's not sealed. We haven't even oiled it yet. We really need to oil it. But I don't know whether the oiling will keep stains and things out. I know it's going to hydrate the wood and that kind of thing, but I don't know if it's going to keep out stains. And as such, placemats came into my head. So I thought, okay, well, let's make some placemats so that we don't feel as bad about eating our dinner on the raw wood. So that was such a long journey here, wasn't it, guys? So I've done two. They are still, they're quilted, but they are not bound. And I did these this morning, so I just whipped these up this morning. So this is probably the one that's for Simon, because he likes sort of purples and blacks and blues and that kind of thing. And this one is for me. Roses and pink. Of course it's for me. Look, I've got roses on me at the moment. So yeah, this one is probably for me. So I did some different quilting on them. This one, I kept it pretty consistent. So I measured out 3/4 inch lines and just quilted across the lines. Whereas with the other one, I just really winged it. I did lines where I felt like it, and then I came back and I added a couple of extra lines. And I like both. I think the regular lines on this one really work with the more old-fashioned kind of fabric, whereas the more modern kind of fabric and the batik and that on here, I think the irregular lines work really well. So I just pulled out some scraps. I had some 2.5 inch strips that I got from a lady on my Buy Nothing group. She had a bunch of 2.5 inch scraps. I didn't quite have enough to finish mine, so this is a pieced strip here, and then the rest are full strips. I've just put together some of the 2.5 inch strips that she gave me. So yeah, I just put this together, and I've got some, it's polyester batting. I've had some in my stash for years and years and years. If you recall, I had to throw away a roll because I had two. I had to throw one away because it got infested with bugs because it got left outside when we moved. So that one had to be thrown away. But yeah, it's just some really puffy polyester wadding. I know people are pretty divided on the polyester wadding. Either they like it or they don't. Like, I've been warned against it, but because I already had it in my stash, and then a lady on my Buy Nothing group gave me a ton as well, I've got so much of it. So for small projects like this, I figured the polyester wadding is fine. And I've just used some more of the fabric that I got from Dorothy on the back, because I thought, what's better than red gingham? I mean, you think about a diner. Diner is covered in red gingham, so I figured that'd be perfect as a backing for my placemats. So I'm really pleased with them. I'm really thrilled with how they came out. I only made two because our table really only has space for 2 people, and we only have 2 stools anyway. So yeah, Simon and I can now sit down and have a lovely dinner that will hopefully foster some conversation in our lounge room, I mean our kitchen, so that we're not just staring at the TV while we eat, we can actually pay attention to each other. So yeah, that is some quilting. So they're not finished, obviously. I still need to bind them, so that's probably something I will probably do this afternoon, because I like hand stitching my binding, so of course I was not going to get that done before I needed to record this video. So yeah, I'm hoping I'll be able to get some binding onto these and I can start hand stitching them tonight or tomorrow. So yeah, we'll see. They should be finished definitely by next week. And I thought I would finish off today, instead of sort of blathery stuff, because I really don't have anything to talk about, that I would do a little bit of show and tell. So I've been collecting a little bit of fabric, which I've been telling you guys about, but I haven't actually shown you any of it. So I have a couple of bits of fabric here to show you, a couple of pre-cut packs. And I also got a really, really lovely package from Anna. So thank you, Anna. I received this. Hopefully I have actually contacted you personally before you see this, hopefully. But Anna offered to trade me a Supreme slider for some yarn, so I got it this week. So I now have a Supreme slider, so I can test out, I can practice some more free motion quilting, and I'm really excited. I haven't tried it yet, but I have it in my hot little hands, and you can guarantee I'm going to be giving this a go pretty soon. I'll probably even maybe try it again on my ugly quilt, which is still on the back of my chair over here. And along with that, she sent this little guy. I'm losing something on my lap. And this is a, I don't know how well you're going to see that. Let's just turn it around and around and around so that you can see what that is. It is a free motion quilting hoop. So the way I gather it gets used is you put it on your fabric and then you use the ring to shift your fabric around under the needle. So yeah, I was really excited. And along with that, she sent me a magazine and a folder with some printed out patterns that she had. So yeah, thank you, Anna. I was really surprised with the little extras, and I sat and I flipped through this magazine yesterday, so that was fun. I am still going to be working on a video showing you through all of my quilting magazines and books that I have, because yeah, I'm going to do a little extra video for that at some point. Maybe I should add that to a list. Now that I've thought about it, we should add it to a list so the brain fog doesn't eat it. So I got that from Anna, which was lovely. So thank you again, Anna. I will, I really feel like I want to make you something a little bit extra than just the yarn that I was going to send you. So your parcel may be a little bit later, but I'm hoping you'll enjoy the little extra that I put in. So I also went to, which one was it? St. Vinny's? Yeah, St. Vincent de Paul, Vinny's, after Office Works the other day, because they're in the same complex near me, and they had some quilting magazines. Of course, they had quite a few actually, and these were $1 each. So these retailed for $13 and I got them for $1 each, and I'm thrilled. There were more than just these two, but because I basically stood and looked through them to see that there were patterns that I would actually make in them, and both of these definitely did have patterns that I would make. So these will be added to the pile, and I will go through them eventually in another video for you guys. And lastly is a couple of pre-cuts that I picked up. Now, I spoke a while ago about my mysterious quilt, how I wanted to make it out of the Ladybird fabric, and like Donna did on Jordan Fabric's YouTube channel, and how I found a fat quarter bundle but it was just too expensive. And I also mentioned that when I went to Fabric Patch to get some of the Boudoir range fabric, that they had the charm squares in the Ladybird fabric, and they had two and they were discounted, so I grabbed both. So yeah, I mean, you can only really see on the front there. Maybe I'll open one. So there's some really lovely fabrics in this range, and yeah, I really wanted that fat quarter bundle, but yeah, it was never gonna be in my budget. So yeah, I was thrilled, absolutely thrilled, because it's not really a range that I've been able to find many pre-cuts about for. I think it's a slightly older range, so obviously fabric ranges don't last forever, and yeah, I was thrilled to get the 2 packets of charm squares, so that was great. And also I got this which coincidentally, without me even knowing, is actually what Kristen used for her, the Passacaglia. I'm dropping it. So you can see on the back there all of the fabrics that are included in this layer cake. And I can't remember where I saw this. That's right, I was searching for another layer cake by Riley Blake, because this is by Riley Blake Designs and it's Sonnet Dusk is the range here. And I was searching for Riley Blake Exquisite and stumbled across this, and I just loved it because it's got little moths in it, which are super cute, and this rose fabric here is just like so me, it's ridiculous. And yeah, I loved this, and the colors are just beautiful, and yeah, I had to have it. I've spent too much money on fabric, guys. I need to stop. I need to go to like an AA for fabric buying. But yes, I bought this, and today I finally pulled the trigger on the Exquisite. I've had it in my cart on Amazon for days, and I've been watching the stock levels, and last night there were 5, today there was only 2, and it's the only place I've found online to find the layer cake of the Exquisite in a price that I can kind of afford. So I pulled the trigger on it and I bought it. Yeah, so there'll be another layer cake coming. I actually have a little bit of fabric still coming from the US, so the layer cake is from the US, and then I've got some more from the US, but that's it. No more fabric. Julianne, no more fabric. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the little bit of show and tell and some varied projects this week. So yeah, thank you so much for being here, everybody, and just a little quick reminder, give us a like, give us a subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me a comment down below, because like I said, I'd really love to grow this channel and get at least to that 1,000 by the end of the year, which would be fantastic. And those 3 things are the easiest way for you to support me and my channel, and to try and get more eyes on it. And of course, if you enjoy my content over here, tell a friend. And if you really love it, I have a Patreon that is only US $2 a month, and on there you will get a bonus video every week. You will get other little bits and pieces, and I'm working on setting a regular date for my Patreon only live streams as well, so that is something that we are going to be negotiating very soon. So, and I've started a Discord channel as well, so if you're interested in any of that, that is only $2 a month, and you can find my link to Patreon down in the description. So thank you for listening to my spiel, and I think all that is left to say is happy knitting, happy crafting, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!